Hey guys, so today we're going to be learning how to make this container right here. It has a screw on top and then it has patterns of the sun, moon, and stars on it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch of a circle with a 10 centimeter diameter, so 5 centimeter radius. Then we're going to select this and extrude 1/2 centimeter. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create another sketch, this time on the plane that we already created. We're going to create 2 circles this time. One, the same diameter as before, and one 9 centimeter diameter. Now we're going to finish sketch again. Next, we're going to select the ring right here, then go to extrude again. This time we're going to extrude for 5 centimeters. The next thing we're going to do is, it's going to look repetitive, but there's a reason for this. We're going to click on this ring again, extrude for 2 centimeters. But instead of the operation being join, we're going to create a new body. This is what it should look like at this point. To make this look nicer, we're going to create a fillet on the bottom edge. So select this edge, go to fillet. Let's put it at 0.5 centimeters. Okay. So you can see now there's a nice curve on the bottom. We're also going to do the same thing for this top edge right here. So select the edge, click fillet. This time we're just going to do 0.25 centimeters because we have to do something on the inner edge as well. Next, we are going to create a thread for the screw on top. So the way you're going to do this, go to create, select thread. It'll ask you to select a face, so we're going to select this one right here. We're not going to worry much about the thread type size, designation, class, or direction. Those are for more complicated things when you're trying to design nuts and bolts, etc. What we are going to do, however, is we're going to click modeled. This just means that you will be able to see the thread in the model. And here you have it. The next thing we're going to do is create the sun, moon, and circle patterns that you saw on the finished product. The first thing we're going to do is click on the front view right here, then go to construct and select tangent plane. It'll ask you to select a face. You're going to select this cylinder right here, so click on that and click OK. As you can see, this plane is tangent to the cylinder. Now we're going to use this plane we created to create a sketch. The first sketch we're going to create is the sun at the bottom. So to do this, click Create Sketch, then click on the plane. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a 1.5 centimeter diameter circle. Next, we're going to take the line tool right here, go about 3.5 of these small blocks above. Doesn't really matter. If you want the rays of your sun to look different, then you can use different lengths. So you're going to go about here and then drag down to 2 blocks out. Then you're going to click here and drag down. The reason we created this line is to use the mirror tool, which we'll be using right now. To do that, go to the Create menu, go down to Mirror. It will ask you to select an object to mirror, click this line, and then it'll ask you to select a mirror line. We will use this line. As you see, this original line is now mirrored on the other side. There you have it. Now, we don't need this line anymore, so we're just going to go in and delete it. So obviously, suns have more than one ray, but you don't want to have to copy-paste them all around, so we're going to use the pattern tool to do that for you. To do this, go up to the Create menu and select Circular Pattern. Then it'll ask you to select objects for the pattern. You're going to click these 2 lines. Then it'll ask you to select a center point, and you will select the center of the circle. The type right here will determine whether it's a full 360 degrees you're rotating around, or you can set it to an angle or symmetrically off of the first point. We're going to use 360 degrees because that's what we're working with. The suppress right here means that you can unselect as many of these as you want, and those will not show up on the final pattern. We want all of our rays to show up, so we'll unclick the suppress. Next, we'll go down here. Notice how this says 3, which means that the 2 lines we had earlier will only be copied 3 times. Let's put it up to 7. Here's our finished sketch, so we're going to go and finish the sketch. The next thing we're going to do is imprint this pattern onto the container itself. To do this, go up to Extrude. Let's start with the center profile right here. Click on that, and for distance, we're actually going to do a negative number. So we're going to go negative 0.25 centimeters. You'll see the operation defaults to cut, which means that it will be taking away material like we want it to. Now we need to do a similar thing for the sun's rays. You may notice that you can't see them anymore. That is because the sketch is hidden. If you go over to the menu on the left, you can press the eye with a line through it, and it will show you the sketch again. So, we'll go to Extrude again. It says select profiles. Select all of these rays. And for distance, we're going to do negative 0.2 centimeters. Again, it's going to be operation cut. Press OK. If you hide the sketch over here, you will be able to see that the center is deeper than the rays of the sun, so you'll be able to see the difference between them more clearly. Next, we'll be using the pattern tool again to copy this design 5 more times. To do this, go up to Create. Now we have to go down to Pattern, and we're going to select Circular Pattern again. Go up to Pattern Type. It's important to note that this tool is very powerful. It can copy faces, bodies, features, and components. We're going to select features because we use an extrude command. Next, it'll ask you to select objects. We're going to go down to the timeline and select both extrude commands we just did. Next, it'll ask you to select the axis to rotate about. Since we centered this on the origin, we can click on the y-axis. We don't want any of them suppressed, so we'll unclick that, and then there will be 6 around the circumference of the container total, so we will put this at 6. As you can see, now there are suns all around the circumference of this cylinder. Next, we're going to create the circle of lines we saw earlier. If you go back to the front, then go on Construction, you will see that you can view the plane that we created earlier that's tangent to the cylinder. We're going to create another sketch this time on this plane. Unfortunately, it's a little difficult to find the center of the cylinder given that it is 2 separate bodies, and so therefore it will not automatically find the center. But if you look at the grid, you can find something that is reasonably close. So it looks like it's going to be right about there. We're going to create a circle with a center right there and a diameter of 0.4 centimeters. Next, we're going to select this circle, extrude, and extrude negative 0.25 centimeters. Again, the operation will be cut. We will be using the pattern tool again, so go up to Create, Pattern, Circular Pattern. The pattern type is already on Features, so when it says Objects to select, go down to the timeline and select your extrude command you just executed. Then for axis, we are still centered along the origin, so we're going to go and select the y-axis. Unclick Suppress, then put 20 into the number. For our final pattern on the main part of the container, we're going to create a moon. To do this, we have to create one more final sketch. So go and show the plane, create a sketch, select this plane as your work surface. First, we're going to go up to Create, Arc, and 3-point arc. And we're going to create our arc starting about 0.4 centimeters above the red axis and 0.6 to the right of the green axis. We're going to create our line to be 2 centimeters high, then pull out to approximately right here. Next, we're going to create a second arc, a 3-point arc again, with the same starting and ending points. However, don't pull it out quite as far. Then click Finish Sketch. Then you're going to go up to Extrude. It automatically selects the moon as your profile. So you're just going to type in -0.25. And for the final time, on this part of the project, we're going to go up to Create, Pattern, Circular Pattern. For objects, you're going to select your Extrude command, and for the axis, your y-axis. There should be, again, 6, no suppression, press OK. And this is your finished body of your container. Because we have to create another part, we're going to turn this into a component so we can move it around. Because we haven't created a component yet, we're going to go over to Bodies. There are 2 bodies, and we're going to Control-click and select Create Components from Bodies. As you can see now, this bottom bit is a new component. However, we want the second body to also be part of this component, so we're just going to click and drag into this. Now both of these bodies are within the component we just created, and we can now move this around. Let's move this away from the origin so we will be ready to create the lid in our next video. That's it for this video. Be sure to come back for part 2.